Welcome to this festive edition, if it wasn't obvious enough, of the Ref Show. And we've got plenty of Christmas cheer to spread as far as Premier League referees and even assistant referees are concerned. Our panel reckons they've done a pretty good job this weekend, with one or two minor exceptions. So we're going to do something a bit different. We're going to flag up those incidents. But first of all, we're going to tackle an issue. And we do that when we think on You Are the Ref that an issue is particularly important for the game we all love. Grappling. Oh no, not that again. I know what you're thinking. It's boring. You've been banging on about grappling all season. But in fact, is this not disfiguring and changing the game of football we all love? Unless somebody does something to stop it. It's becoming the norm. Glenn Turner, Brian Deane, grappling now is almost an accepted part of the game, all this business holding pull in the area.
Yeah, sadly, you're right, Alan. I'm almost not looking for it any longer. It's becoming too accepted and too acceptable that, it takes place, it happens in both penalty areas, so just get on with it and accept it. No, it's wrong. They're fouls. Before
we get Dino's view on that and talking about their fouls, Keith Hackett's taken a strong line with a recent blog on You Are the Ref. He's saying quite clearly referees penalise this. The current policy of warning players before a corner kick is taken is not working. Get in there and penalise either with a free kick or with a penalty kick to the attacking team. And this has got to come from the authorities, that lead, surely.
Just because invariably grappling doesn't lead to a player generally getting seriously injured doesn't mean to say it shouldn't be dealt with firmly still. Let's roll back a few years, the tattle from behind. We didn't used to warn players, you can have the first tattle from behind, because the first one's going to hurt somebody just as much as the second, third and fourth one. So we sorted it out, and tattling from behind now, whilst it'll never be fully eradicated, has been shifted very much into the background. You don't see it anywhere near as often as you need to. Right. And so the practitioners, i.e. the match officials, need to get hold of this, just like they did with the tattle from behind. And then, over the fullness of time, it'll get sorted.
Get hold of it, literally. Brian, it wasn't like this in your day.
No, not at all. It was, I think it's more accepted now. I've certainly seen games where it's going on in front of the referees and they're not doing anything about it. And I just think it's an unfair advantage that defenders have got. It's a penalty all day long. I mean, I remember playing and being grappled to the ground a couple of times. I actually got an FA charge once because I was just trying to get myself free of an opponent right in the box for a corner. So it does kind of worry you. You just wonder where it's come from. I think it's lazy defending. But until we make a stand, and I remember when I was in Norway, I used to say to my defenders, my players, make a point to the referee before the corner comes in, and then they can't do it in front of their eyes because it's a blatant penalty.
It's the damage it's doing to the spectacle we all love. This is football. This is not handball. This is not all in wrestling. But it's becoming accepted. And as Brian says, defenders aren't defending.
But it's a good point that Brian makes, that defenders have got an unfair advantage, because spin it around, you breathe on a goalkeeper, the centre forward is going to get punished for a foul. I mean, yet centre halves are pulling centre forwards to the ground, tearing the shirts, wrestling them to the ground, and nothing's getting done. Yet the referees can't see that they're not seeing these things, because, as Brian says, they're right in front of the referee's eyes. And some of them, you can actually see their eye line is following the incident itself.
It's no part of a coaching manual for defenders, or shouldn't be, but I can see it becoming part of that coaching, Dino, if we're not careful.
Yeah, it's like I said, it's hard to pinpoint where it's come from, but I just think it's lazy, and I think it should be punished.
Yeah. And it's got to be surely from the top as a dictate, because it's unfair to ask, say for instance, a top referee, Martin Atkinson, goes out on a limb on a Saturday and awards a controversial penalty. He gets pilloried. Absolutely. It's got to be from the top.
One in, we're all in. Yeah. You can't have one or two. Let's say, and congratulations early to the pair of them, Atco and Klatz, on their appointment to Euro 2016, but we can't have the top two referees going out and doing it, and the others going, I'm not getting involved with that, I'm not getting another game this week.
Yeah, it would only take one high-profile incident to change it, because nobody would you know, that's the precedent then, and nobody wants to be caught out after that. But I think it's the best thing, you know, because as a spectacle, like you just said, Alan, you know, you want to see people trying to lose people in the box fairly and get across their men. But, you know, and we have seen it where referees just see it going on in front of them and they just think it's the norm now.
Do you remember Howard doing it in Euros?
I do.
Gave an absolute cracker of a penalty decision. Yeah, fantastic decision, and was widely supported, obviously, apart from the home nation who was against.
But it landed him in controversy, had all sorts of threats.
Well, actually, it should have just been a hell of a great load of praise, and well done you, and everybody should have picked it up at that point and run with it, and we wouldn't be having this conversation.
Well, it needs from the top, FIFA, UEFA, Premier League, FA, you name it, the authorities to say, hey, this is not acceptable. This is a strong line from you, or the ref. We're doing it because we love the game, and the game is being disfigured. And it's been around a long time because, without blowing my own trumpet, the word grappling was applied to this. I've got the copyright on that. I invented this around, well, I didn't invent the word, but around 15 years ago, it was an article for either the Express or the Mail, with Keith, actually, Keith Hackett. And I was thinking of a word that summed up the holding, pulling, or whatever. Everybody uses it now, grappling. I should be retired. I should have made a fortune from that. Let's move on to one or two incidents from the weekend. There isn't a lot of criticism to apply. Well done, referees. Great advantage, Kevin Friend, for instance. Spurs against Southampton, 2-0 victory for the first goal. Harry Kane, that was terrific. Several penalties awarded, most of them correct, I think. But this one, the Bournemouth winner at West Brom, Mike Deane, who correctly sent off their straight reds, James McLean and Salomon Rondon of Albion, who finished with 9 players. The holding for the late penalty started outside the box. Yeah,
definitely, yeah. And what a shame that Dino undid with that decision, the great work that he'd done earlier with James McLean, and James McLean, he needs to be careful because he's starting to get a bit of a reputation for himself now. That's two in succession.
Yeah, I think you commented, you were on the show on the previous one, weren't you?
Scary, wasn't it?
Yeah,
I mean, that was just as bad,
challenge.
that one. I mean, you know, I mean, don't know so much about now, but back in the days, you know, somebody like him, you'd be watching out for him, and he'd probably find himself on the end of one of those himself. But there's no room for it in the game now.
No.
It really was malicious, wasn't it?
Not just like Brian saying, the players will start taking the law into their own hands. And, don't believe that referees don't talk, because when we meet up 4 hours before a game in a hotel, these are exactly the kind of potential incidents that we're talking about. Yeah. So as I say, James McLean needs to be careful, because otherwise he's going to be the subject of those discussions, and an extra keen eye will be on him every time he steps out.
Just a quick one. A theory from me about that penalty being awarded and why I think it was morally correct. The holding starts outside the box, referee plays advantage, continues inside the box, penalty.
Yeah. Well, that's where it all falls down, that argument, because the referee didn't play any advantage. Right. So had Dino given it the big advantage, maybe we could have a discussion about why maybe we could have got away with a penalty award. No advantage played.
Okay, Mark Clattenburg. Excellent referee, European Championship selection, wonderful handling again of Watford's terrific victory, 3-0 over Liverpool. The first goal, Jurgen Klopp complaining his goalkeeper gets fouled. Adam Bogdan drops a ball from a corner. Now, I know what you're going to say, and I would say, keeper should have held it.
Yeah, I mean, exactly. And it's happened so quickly anyway. Yeah. You know, once he's dropped that ball, as a Aki, you know, his first reaction, it's a reaction to what's happened. So it's very hard to penalise the referee for that. I mean, you have to point squarely at Bogdan. That's a bog standard catch.
Ooh, he's on form, isn't he? He really is. He's knocking them in. I'm crossing them and you're knocking them in.
Well, whilst it, I can buy into that as an argument, but the bottom line is it's a foul. But how much criticism can you level at Klats for that one? Very, very little, if any at all, because, like Brian says, it happened so quickly, but also there were so many bodies between him and Bogdan that, come on, sometimes things happen in football and you just have to accept that nobody could see it at the time. And I think that's one of them. So no criticism levelled at Klats for me.
A lot to get through in the second half, including the debate over Newcastle's goal in their 1-1 draw with Aston Villa. You can sort of argue it either way as to whether there was interference and whether offside should have been given. We'll talk about that. We'll also talk about several incidents in the Championship. There's some real baffling ones. But just finally in this half, a tribute from us all, obviously, to Jimmy Hill, and commiserations and condolences to his family, and all the football family shares in that, because Jimmy Hill was part of all our lives, wasn't he?
It was. I mean, I remember as a kid that match of the day music, and then seeing his face on there. It was so iconic.
And having met him just the once, proud to say, a gentleman too. Yes. Really lovely fella. We all owe debt to players, managers, all of us, journalists, broadcasters, to Jimmy Hill. Thanks, fellas. We'll be back for the second half of the Ref Show. Don't miss that either. See you then.